This is the last of them.
Now we can find the Shadow Lord. And Yonah.
We certainly can.
We're almost there, Yonah. Hold on.
Yep. Almost there. We have all the pieces of the keystone, and the only thing left for us to do now is go back to the Lost Shrine, set it into its place, and finally confront the Shadow Lord and get her back.
We should return to Popola and see if she has any final words for us. I marvel at how relatively simple a task this retrieval process proved to be. It is almost as if someone deliberately set us on this path.
You're overthinking again, Vice.
But...
I don't care if it's a trap. Yonah's waiting for me, and I'm going.
I see.
Well, given all the crap I think we've already been through, I imagine that we can handle ourselves, whatever comes next. I mean, it's a video game, we should be able to handle ourselves whatever comes next. So, in celebration of us having collected the keystone, you might have noticed that the background music has changed. It's no longer Song of the Ancients. That is the piano version of Yonah's theme. It's a little thing, and I know it's been done in plenty of games before where the town theme changes in honor of, you know, the end game. But, I like it. It also continues here into the library, anywhere you go into town. It's Yonah.
You're really gonna do it? The whole village is buzzing. They say you're gonna rescue Yonah.
It's true. This is my final journey.
Hard to believe this is the end.
I'll bring her back. I promise.
About that.
What?
Nothing. Never mind. Popola just loves to worry. Anyway, you be careful. Yes, do be careful.
I will. Watch over the village while I'm gone.
Before we head out, though, there is something that we haven't looked at since basically the beginning of the game. The trophy room over here. As we've been defeating bosses, it's been populating with the trophies, and as you can see, all the slots are now full. So, let's take a quick little trip down memory lane. This is Hansel, the first of the big statue bosses that we fought. Shariar, the cube thing that turned to a boombox boss. Halua, who, well... Gretel, of course. When we went in and it tried to avenge its brother. Didn't work out very well. This is Poor Grimoire Rubrum. Crazy book in the manor. That is the P-33. The robot that, was tangentially responsible for Jacob's death? Still not sure about that. Hook, from the first fight in the area. That is actually from our first visit to the Forest of Myth. The bough, the bough of the tree there. Rock, of course, from the Fightin' Facade. And a, very nice, but kind of depressing wedding. There we have the head of Geppetto, the security robot from 5 years ago that killed the brother's mother. This one is also weird. This is representative of the Forest of Myth the second time we went through it. It is a reference to the gray-haired boy who appeared in the original dreams that NIer and Yonah had when we went to the Forest of Myth. And of course, Wendy, who is here shown as its rolled-up radish form. As to why these are here, why Popola has been collecting them, I believe she took up whittling at some point in time. It is very boring sitting in the library office all day, so she heard these weird exploits and made little carvings of monsters. I don't know what else she does in here. Anyway, we've done that. So all that's left for us to do is go to the Lost Shrine.
Thank you for protecting our village.
Of note is the fact that the villagers have actually changed their conversational dialogue. If you talk to them, they say basically what they've been saying already. But if you bother running through the village, and I do show this off in the additional video, not just this one, they do have a lot of things to say as a going-away gift. For the sake of streamlining the experience, so to speak, we're just headed to the Lost Shrine.
Are we ready?
Let's all make it back alive, okay?
It's a plan.
It's a good plan, actually. That is a damn good plan, and it should be included in all plan making. Anyway, the first time we came back to the Lost Shrine, you might recall that our ascent was actually very simple. There were relatively few shades out in the area, and actually making it up there to go into the back room was very fast, very easy. However, the Shadow Lord, having recognized that his elaborate box puzzle defenses have failed him, has sent out some actual troops to try and keep us at bay. It's a little bit more effective. Now, weird thing that I didn't focus on this particular ascent. That shade, the second to last shade that was killed on the bottom there, died in a really peculiar way, and this happened twice. So I think there's just something about his programming that got all wonky. He basically lost the shade texture in place of kinda having the armor texture on his actual body. So you wound up with a shade that was flat gray, but with a couple of odd details. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but it's actually kind of neat. I'm sorry that when I saw it the second time and actually noticed that I didn't bother, or I didn't have the recording running. Because I've not seen that before, but I've seen it again. Kind of weird. It might just be because he died too quickly. It might just be that one shade has some issues. I don't know. This area is also patrolled by one of those floating wizards. He's really not worth the trouble. The exterior of the Lost Shrine, of course, has the most notable increase of shades, that being from 0 to a lot more than 0. The interior, however, also has a lot of additional enemies. I mean, this is the final push to the final boss, so it makes sense to finally have these larger waves coming after you, trying to defend their king. They are almost universally armored, if not universally armored. When you knock their armor off, they immediately generate the anti-magic barrier. And they're, fairly tough. Again, as per usual, I've got this reset to the hard mode fights, so they're much stronger than they would be under normal circumstances. But obviously, you're not really being put up against tiny slouch shades at this point. They are also all larger. There are no little guys at this point. It's all of these more adult-looking, more developed shades. What I wound up doing in commemoration of the fact that these things have a lot more HP than I'm used to is basically trying out, in earnest, the use of a two-handed sword. I've never really bothered with them up until this point, just because my style of combat is a lot more hit-and-run tactics. I prefer to be able to go faster and just plow through enemies instead of having to stand in the middle of them to get the most out of my weapon. The change is worthwhile, at least. The two-handed swords deal, well, the Beast Lord in particular here, deals substantial damage, rips off armor, and of course has no trouble with the magic barriers, and it can hit shades all around you if you're standing in the middle of a group of them. Here I was just making sure that I had all the words equipped properly. I did, and moved on. Yeah, you can see that even though that shaman starts off unarmored, as I believe most of the shaman shades actually do, he still has the anti-magic barrier, and as soon as they're allowed to stand up, they'll automatically reform it. Not generally too much of a problem, because you will probably be relying mostly on weapons to get through these guys. Bit annoying when both your teammates have good magic spells, or, you know, have absolutely no physical attacks, in the case of Emil, which kind of cripples their effectiveness. But, what are you gonna do? Except punch them. Obviously, you can see that I switched off of Dark Blast for Dark Hand. Again, this was just a pure damage attempt. The shades begin getting a little bit too, I wouldn't say too strong, but I don't really want to deal with them that much. So I tried switching out, to more immediately powerful weapons, and actually began using some of my ridiculous surplus of strength capsules. It worked. It worked for all the times that I wasn't trying to, say, attack the corner of the room. I just picked up a Shurzar there, which is physical strength, 25%. Having done that, I was intending to... Yeah, I actually wound up equipping that first and foremost. Some decisions were changed at a later point, but the purpose of doing that, of course, is to make your weapons work faster. The Phoenix Spear doesn't have a significant advantage when you have more strength, because it's only a medium weight weapon. But since I was actually making use of things like the Beast Lord, yeah, the Beast Lord, it helps with that. Again, the main problem with two-handed weapons is that they are slow as molasses, so having any advantage to wielding them faster is preferable. Fortunately, all of the block puzzle are cleared since we already came through here and moved them. Nobody bothered to reset them because, well, clearly they're not that effective. Instead, most of these rooms now have shades inhabiting them, although, as you can see, not all of them do. The previous room we were in had a very bad setup for allowing shades, for allowing fighting at all, really. Perhaps one of my favorite things that happened when I was doing this was that poor guy up in the corner just getting stuck on top of the box. Shades aren't supposed to wind up on boxes. They can't jump, and apparently they can't perform any vertical movement because that guy could not hit me. Sorry, buddy. Put up a good fight. Maybe should have tried crouching. And these guys just set themselves up so beautifully. I still miss the last one. Now, in addition to the regular enemies spawning, every major floor like this, these two major floors like this, I guess, the third one doesn't actually have one, have these much larger mini-boss shades. They really aren't that tough. It's mostly the issue with having all the other shades attacking at once. This guy gave me an interesting issue, one that I really should have anticipated and reacted to better. You see where I'm standing? You see where he's gonna attack from? Yeah. Great. I probably should have learned from the Aerie. Anyway, after climbing my way all the way back up, I came upon this interesting discovery. He despawned. I've actually been knocked off by the lower end shade, so when you reappear on the first floor there, he's still around. But as I was climbing, the boss music kept going, and his bar was there for about 30 seconds afterwards, until, at some point it just kinda disappeared. And I thought it was because the game had caught up with the fact that I was nowhere near the boss and just stopped showing me its health bar. But no, it turns out that if you prompt the appearance of most shades going up here, and then wind up falling off and then jumping back up, they just despawn after a bit. Which is useful for absolutely nothing unless you are inexplicably just jumping up and down the Lost Shrine here. Which I guess you might as well do on weekends. I don't know what you do for fun. But, good to know. As with the original run of the Lost Shrine, you can basically ignore most of the enemies. In fact, you can fundamentally ignore every single enemy here and just make a beeline for this door. Didn't seem right, though, to be honest. Given everything we've gone through and given where we're going, given why, this seemed like the time to really knuckle under and kill everything in sight. These, after all, are basically almost the Shadow Lord's elite guard, so to speak. It just seemed appropriate to begin really taking a blade to their face. these guys don't seem to be making the anti-magic barrier because they still have pieces of armor on them. I'm fine with that. Not a fan of anti-magic barriers. Anyway, that's it. I took one last detour into this room at the end. And what do we have? Herbs. 2 herbs. Useless to the end. Thank you, miscellaneous room. Oh, Yonah. Much to my dismay, every time I come up here, there is no conversation on the way across this bridge. There's still no quicker way to get up to the room we need to get to. Fortunately, well, there are a couple of shades that spawn to try and get us, but at this point, not nearly enough. That guy got killed by the weather. They just got killed. Quick look to make sure there's nothing else in the vicinity, even though I absolutely know there is not. Grab another herb, because I need herbs. This is basically one last little batch of shades. Because now that they're gone, we want to jump down to the courtyard. Nothing is standing guard there anymore. Lay down a save and prepare ourselves. Because this is the point of no return. Basically, once we walk through that door and make our decision, this is final. No going back. No stopping now.
Such an ominous sight. And yet I find it strangely nostalgic.
Yeah. This is where Weiss and I first met.
Wow! This is where you used to live, Weiss?
Well, yes, I suppose. In a technical sense.
Pretty nice digs for a floating magazine.
At least it was free from annoying hussies like yourself. And now the path is open.